We're starting to see some cracks emerge across the travel world. We had both TripAdvisor and Trivago talk about the consumer becoming a bit more cost conscious, opting for lower cost destinations, shorter stays. But I was on your earnings call. You're simply not seeing that. Why do you think there is this differentiation? Is that due to geographic or demographic differences?
I don't think so. And I did hear some of the comments you just remarked on. And we have not seen people shortening their stays at all. We are not seeing people going down for a lower star rated hotels. So it is different than some of the people that you mentioned. Now, some of the companies you mentioned are what we call meta search companies, where people are really looking for prices, looking for the best. So hypothetically, maybe it's those people actually are, those particular people are looking for better prices. But for us, generally, we are not seeing that at all.
The story is also different when we look at vacation rentals, with Expedia saying that business Vrbo is under pressure, whereas Booking, last night on your call, you were saying you're continuing to gain market share here in the U.S., average daily rates staying strong. What exactly are you seeing in that business as more people book hotels?
Yeah, no, we are very pleased with the numbers that we gave out last night. 45% growth in our alternative accommodations area, which was better than our 38% year over year number for the general, all of our accommodations. That's obviously showing strength in our alternative accommodations and potentially saying that we're gaining some share. I'm very pleased with where we are with that.
When we talk to you, I'll always like to get the international picture because you still make over 50% of your sales outside the U.S. I'm particularly interested, Glenn, in the inbound travel to the United States. We know more Europeans are starting to come here, but when do we actually see the Asian traveler come back to the U.S. that we know, on average, spend a lot more on tourism and discretionary goods when they visit the U.S.?
Well, yeah, and it has been slower coming back in terms of Asia travel in general, and particularly the outbound international part of Asia has also been slower. And then, of course, you had restrictions that had kept people from coming to the U.S. that lasted longer than I think it should have. But right now, we are beginning to see it coming back. Of course, there's one factor that we can't control, and that's currency. FX headwinds for people that look at the U.S. The dollar is still strong, though, albeit not as strong as it was, recently, but still strong. So people are trying to decide, where do I want to travel? And another thing, the lines at the airports when you come to the U.S., if you're an international visitor, those lines can be very long at immigration. I really would stress to the Washington regulator, people who can get more people into the immigration area to try and get those passports stamped as quickly as possible to get people in the country. If you want to go traveling internationally, you don't want to spend 3 hours on a line in an airport just to enter the country.
Yeah, in fact, London Heathrow chief executive recently saying that he is concerned about capacity at the London airport, but also Paris as well, where they're seeing strikes and protests. Should we worry about some type of summer travel chaos in Europe, given what's happening there?
Well, there's no doubt last summer was a bit troubling for a lot of people. No matter where you traveled, it was tough. And this summer could be not, it won't be as bad, but we're seeing a lot of people wanting to travel this summer. And it's still taking time for the people to staff up the necessary areas where you need to have lots of people. So I'm concerned that it could be troublesome for some people in some airports. But generally speaking, people want to travel and they'll suffer for a little while just for their holiday.